Yo, what's good? Oh my god. Oh my god. I am actually excited for this. Like literally excited. Um so there a new Jimmy Neutron movie, a new one. And that is insane cuz like I I haven't really been into Jimmy. Well, I've always like for a while, and I just gotten into it. Like it's so good. Well, to be fair, I did watch Jimmy Neutron for my whole life as a childhood. But like, dude, oh my god, this is insane. Honestly, like this whole thing, um, it like in like the Hey Arnold movie, the Rocco Smart Life, Invader Zim, bro. We're getting the return of Jimmy again, bro. This is actually insane. It's like, whoa. Okay, so this is gonna be a top 10 list of what I want for the new Jimmy Neutron 2 movie. Um, so, like, without further ado, like, let's get started with this. Okay, number one, the animation legit has to look good. Um, I I feel like the appeal of Jimmy Neutron is that like the animation looks really good, like in 3D. Like, it's probably one of the best looking cartoons that are 3D throughout like the decade, and it still looks good to this day. Like I feel like it has a charm to its 3D animation, and that's why I find the whole show to look cool. Honestly. Um, I like, dude, just I love this, and I just like, and I see Fairly Odd Parents, like yeah, SpongeBob, obviously. But like, those shows are so cool, and I love Fairly Odd Parents too. Like, legit, like it's either like Fairly Odd Parents or Jimmy Neutron that I love. They're like best cartoons. Like, I love both of them equally. Obviously, they're both dope shows. Honestly, you know. And yeah, in like different ways. And it's just so cool, and the fact that they do the Power Hour thing where in fact Jimmy Neutron is the first one to do that. They did this cool idea where they combined the animation styles, and it's like 2D and 3D, and it's just so cool. I love that shit so much. Like it's so cool. Like I love this show honestly because it's so creative in how they do things. Like, and that's why I found this show charming. Like I'd say if they're willing to improve on graphics though, you know, um take what they did um like in the Pixar, thing. You don't have to make it like Pixar or anything like that. Or like Inside Out 2 or whatever. But like like make it good looking. I know like the last time there was like a Honda Civic commercial of like Jimmy Neutron, and the characters look good in that. Like it looks pretty good. I kind of agree. Like they look pretty good, and I enjoy the lighting. Yeah, I'd say for character for character models, like don't really change much of the character models. I don't want them to go drastic or redesign them. And I just like yeah, I mean, I know there's like a whole 2D redesign thing, and then it's like, and it looks good, but like I want this thing to look as good as possible, like in their usual animation style. Like, dude, this actually does, like, all I would say to redesign them, and this will be the next step, like redesigning the characters, like for the necessary redesign. I would say what's interesting is that there's the show Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, that would basically go and redesign all these characters. Like, um, first Libby was like, you know, redesigned to have like dreads instead of like her usual ponytail, and Cindy like has a different outfit or something. Or even Nick was like having a black trench coat in the third season, and like those are so cool. And I was thinking they're willing to keep those designs in the movie, like maybe they would keep them but also improve on it a little bit, like maybe give Jimmy a bit of like his I don't know, he has a lab coat or something like that, or just like show like some simple things that make it so much better looking, and yeah, that's all I really gotta say for that. As for number three, um have the story like be good, like I know that's pretty vague honestly, but like no, like um I did hear that there's a rumor that a different director is gonna screenplay Jimmy Neutron, but like I say like I still kind of trust it that it still is gonna be good, but what I'm gonna say though is really um like keep the humor of the show. Like it's a hard to explain, humor. I'm not really much of a co- comedy guy, even though I made a cartoon, so technically I do kind of know some comedy, but um I digress. Like it just make it look so like make it like funny, make the action scenes actually good. Like yeah, like the action scenes really do great things, maybe show Jimmy Neutron his think moment. And I enjoy like conflicts like that honestly throughout the show and movie. Like he kind of, you know, has character development, and I love that about, Jimmy Neutron. Like he's like a bit of a flawed character, and I know like people say like, "Oh, Jimmy Neutron's like my least favorite character." And I was like, "Yeah, like but it would be not interesting if he's a unflawed character." Though, that would be a different topic to make, like, like flawed versus unflawed characters, Goku, yeah, but ADHD, sorry. Okay. But anyways, number 4. Um Number 4 would be having reoccurring villains for this. Like, okay. Ooh. Um Make sure, like, the villains are like, back to, how they were, from the actual thing. Just like maybe make it more menacing, or even for this, and what I was saying earlier, like make sure like the actual like story, or even the conflict, like have a purpose to be a movie length. I don't want this to be like you can fit this in an episode where, like, there's no point to making it into a movie, and it could be like a long episode or whatever. I know Sponge Out of Water kind of has that problem where like it's a full length movie, like even though it feels like they could solve this in an episode. I don't want that for Jimmy Neutron. Um but I know there was rumors that there was going to be a season 4 in Jimmy Neutron, and they did say there's like actual episodes that were canceled during that time, but they made the episodes, the scripts, and even the story for it. I could think they could bring some of those episodes and actually form it into a good movie. Like, I really do think this might actually be like a great, like, um thing. Like, I mean, I don't know about the future of this. I do think it's like some good, like, thing. And I'm not good at segues, but like number 5, make this a conclusion. Yeah, like, so I I would obviously be excited for, like, a series of Jimmy Neutron again, like, with the same art style. Like, hold on, hold on. I mean, I do like this to actually be, like, a whole, like, series. They could do the same thing, like what they did with the original movie where, like, they take the actual movie's assets or models from the actual movie and, like, they plop it into the show, and I still think that's a genius idea, but, for this thing, literally, um, like, they could I part of me thinks they could continue. I wouldn't mind that they would make it, but that's I'm cautious about that. I am cautious though. Like, you can make something actually good, like, in the show in some way, but you know, like, it's still like kind of a bad idea too if they were to continue with this, like, there's a likely chance that there's gonna be new creators and all that stuff. I s like, don't get me wrong, it could be like an Animaniacs thing. I still like the Animaniacs reboot a little bit, but, like, with the Animaniacs reboot, there's, like, new creators and all that stuff, and the old creators weren't there, and I feel like they kinda lost in translation the actual charm of the original show and the jokes a little bit, but, um, like, even though they did try in the reboot, it still is not the same show, and I feel like that's gonna ruin it, and I won't say it won't ruin it as much if it's in a movie, but in a show, it would definitely do, like, I feel like some episodes would do drag if it's a new creative team and, like, they don't really know much about Jimmy Neutron, but in a movie, it's more light, like, you could still have a safe ground for it, saying this is a return for Jimmy Neutron, but, like, it still has a new, different take on it, but it won't drag on, you know what I mean? And it's so good for this and and I think, like, um that's not a bad idea for that. I just think that, like, for the show, it's just, I don't think it's possible, I say. Well, it is possible though. But, like, um I feel like the reasons why, like, like Hey Arnold or Rocco's Bar Life end a little bit, like they have a conclusion in the movie, especially Hey Arnold, is because, like, that's meant to be a closure for, like, their own series. Like, I feel like the sequel was meant to be the conclusion for, like, Hey Arnold in general, and I felt it's the same way with Jimmy Neutron because there was gonna be plans of a sequel movie, and I feel like that would be a conclusion to Jimmy Neutron in general. Like, as much as I enjoyed the Jimmy Timmy Power Hours and all that stuff, I still feel like, for it's not really a conclusion. It's epic though. I love when Jimmy and Timmy were together, but, like, it still makes me think that, like, there should be more to Jimmy Neutron that hasn't been done. It just feels like it, like, was canceled abruptly, like, um and even if there was, like, a movie for, like, Jimmy Neutron and, like, 3 seasons and, to be fair, it it didn't run its course. Compared to Fairly Odd Parents, and I love the show by heart, honestly, but, I feel like the later seasons definitely did drag on, and it definitely did lost its luster in, like, the later seasons, like with Poof or Sparky, especially Sparky and Chloe. Um, it, and it's just that, like, they can't really do, like, a whole, like, series for that, and even for that might be a factor too, like, so that's why I don't think that might be. So, um, all I'm just saying with this, make this, an actual conclusion for, Jimmy Neutron. That's all I gotta say for that. Oh, wow. So, alright, number 5. Let me see. Or is it number 4? Uh, I would say, actually, you know, bringing some of the old ideas like from the show. I would say there was like a particular moment in Jimmy Neutron that I remembered. I think it was um when Jimmy and Cindy, or Sheen and Libby, have their own like plots together, that they kind of have a crush on each other. I wouldn't mind actually having that in the movie. That would actually legit be a good story. Yo, it would just be like the actual Hey Arnold thing, where like the actual thing is like literally um the whole story of like, would Helga say like, like he falls in love with Arnold, like would he know about that? But then like Arnold did know about it, and like, and they both fall in love with each other. Jimmy Neutron technically did do this a little bit, but like they didn't really went like all in on the story. It's like, and so I think like maybe they were to like kind of do have some sort of method about that, like in some way, I feel like I would honestly recommend it. They were to do something like that, because honestly, it would make the movie so much more like you actually like know something about the movie. You know, I and that's what I love about like movies like the Sonic movie, uh or Spider-Man, or Toy Story. Like they have like these emotional moments, and it's kind of relatable, honestly. And that's where you kind of like understand a lot of these characters and what they're going through, and like, and you kind of remember it for those moments. And I do feel that way, especially in the cartoon and the movie. Like, and if they like, do some sort of that, like a relatability thing, or like, and how they do it, like with, you know, um, Jimmy and Cindy like falling in love with each other, or like, well, not falling in love with each other. They know more, and they're like the boyfriend and girlfriend thing. That would actually legit make the movie way more better, honestly, in like a story sense. And and it just and it's so good because it's not really about the story, it's really about the characters that really make the story really good. Because like you kind of feel like you're in these characters' shoes a little bit, and that's why I kind of like them so much. And it's really good like that. So yeah. All right, number 6. Make sure the characters have the same voice actors. Like, this is the thing about like actually new shows and new reboots. They they have like these old characters, but they replace it with like new characters, honestly. And I just never really understand that, because it just makes things a lot worse. Like every single time it's like a lot worse. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind change, especially reboots. Um, Spider-Man does it well, honestly. Even, like just it those things like that, it's those are not bad, but like if it's a cartoon that the original appeal is the actual show that you watched, then it would definitely make things a lot worse. And you know, even kids who like don't really know about Jimmy Neutron would not really be interested about it, honestly, because like no one would really watch the show if like it doesn't appeal to anybody. And that's the thing that I definitely do worry about, but not really that much. Like, and so that's why I just want like make sure they have like Derry Dewberry, Rob Paulson, um, I don't know, Sheen Estevez, or maybe have some celebrity actors from the movie, like let me see, what is it, Chris He's the Star Trek character, but like I don't know his name honestly. So, like, that's definitely important. So make sure they have that. And as for 7, uh, make sure that like some uh like I don't know, like, all right, all right, all right. So all right, number 7, like, let me see. Um, make sure that like some characters like don't steal too much of the spot. I don't even know about that one though. Like but like, I don't know. Like, let me see. For 7, like, like, oh yeah, like, make sure Jimmy Neutron has way more creative, like, gimmicks that he actually does in the actual movie. Like, we've seen so much of Jimmy Neutron's inventions and everything that it's so cool to see, honestly. Like, his gizmos and rays, his shrink ray, his actual, like, his scooter that he goes, like, and I wouldn't mind he does like more gimmicks that wasn't really in the show, or and even bring back some of the old ones, but like make some new ones too that are legit. Like this is kind of a nostalgia thing, but like make sure that the actual, like thing that they have is like a literal like it kind of represents the early 2000s a little bit, and I feel like the style works best in that because its inventions definitely have the inspiration of like early 2000s like kids toys, and like it like some inventions look like Nerf guns or even like some um like um like even fidget spinners a little bit. I wouldn't mind, a fidget spinner Jimmy Neutron toy. Oh my god, that would actually legit be fire though, honestly. They would do something like that, you know? Yo, Nickelodeon, yo, if you're watching this, take notes. But yeah, um, and even for that, like, that would be so cool, honestly. And um, it does represent like the era that the show was made, and just show how really it's so cool on how, like, the show was, and maybe kind of represent how awesome the show is a little bit based on those cool moments. And that's a good segue to number 8. Have some good action scenes, bro. I feel like what separates Jimmy Neutron with regular Nickelodeon cartoons and even SpongeBob was the action scenes. Like, dude, I would I would die on the hill to say that Jimmy Neutron has better action scenes than Avatar. Honestly, I I may, well, I'm hyperbolizing a little bit, but like still, like, I think the show really does actually have some fun moments in there, and like the action scenes are just really good. And that's why I like it so much, because there's there's never really a dull moment in the show, and that's why I find it really cool, honestly. Have that sort of like thing that they do, maybe fight scenes too, like with the inventions, of course. And obviously, like, banter goes in with Hugh Neutron, and he's like, "Oh, Jimmy, yeah, don't go in that shadow realm," or something like that, by Mark DiCarlo, great voice actor for Hugh Neutron. um and that wouldn't be a bad idea for that, like, make sure, they have some sort of thing that they do, and that's where I feel like the budget really comes in. Like, make sure, it kind of looks a bit like a Pixar movie. Like, everything looks so good a little bit. Like, even in the show and the original movie, like, they can really pull off some really great animation in the action scenes, and I feel like that's what makes it cool, Like, they could definitely do something like that, and I wouldn't mind that. Um And as for number 9, um, make sure that uh, ooh, there's a lot of things I would say about number 9, but like make sure that the like literally like the ending, like a good conclusion to it. Like I feel like um the endings are an interesting thing, and I do work on cartoons, but like um this is kind of a bit of a hot take, but like don't have any characters die. And I know like sacrifices are kind of sad, you know, like you see a character that you know and they sacrifice. It's like, but don't really do that, you know, like don't do that. I mean, I get it if it's like something serious, you know, technically, you know, like there was like a sacrifice over a certain movie that I watched. I'm not gonna spoil it, but like, you know, it's pretty sad, but like it works for that movie, but not in this one. They're cartoon characters, so they can't die. So what I would do instead is literally make the emotional moments without actually losing anybody. And I feel like that's an even stronger story, in my opinion. Like, I feel like dying is kind of a cheap way of making good storytelling. And, like, you know, oh man, like, someone dies, it's just like, yeah, like, but that's kind of an excuse a little bit, honestly. So, like, have a good story where no one dies and it's still you still kind of cry in the end by how good the movie is, and like it feels like a good conclusion to it. Like I kind of did feel like that when I did see the first Jimmy Neutron movie, and just like it's a pretty good movie, honestly. And yeah, I mean it's no Toy Story or anything, but like still like I did feel something about that movie, and that's like really good. So hopefully they do the same thing, and it really is a great conclusion to the story and other stuff like that. So hopefully for that. And for number 10, number 10. What it is for number 10? How about they like add a new villain? I'm kind of saying that. Like, I know they can do the old classics, but like, I wouldn't mind a new villain, honestly. Like, actually, that would actually be fire. Like, they would do something like what they did in Jimmy New Timmy Power Hours, and like, oh man, if yo, but that's like but like a man can dream. If Timmy Turner did appear in like 1 second, that would blow everyone's minds. Honestly, like like yo, Timmy Turner is it the movie, bro? Oh my god, and like, dude, and like I'd say though, like make some of this like actual like rehashes of like old episodes. You know, like I know I did like kind of skip over that. Like, yeah, like what I said. So, like, but actually make it like some references to old episodes. Like, I wouldn't mind actually doing this and actually having like references to like old episodes, or like other things that they did. Like maybe Jimmy Neutron's like did say about like oh, he would say a lot of things, but like one of the things that we did reference is maybe where he is on like I don't know, like there would be so many good references. Like Carl Weezer would definitely do the croissant meme that's been done. Or even Hugh Neutron. Oh boy, Hugh. He would be like, I will live with all those pies and all this stuff. Like, do something like that. That would be really cool, honestly. So, um, like, yeah. And it doesn't have to be like memes and all that stuff. They could like do like, oh man, I remember when, um, my evil doppelganger Jimmy Neutron was there, and now he's returned. Like, what am I gonna do about this? You know, like something like that. Like, that would be so cool to see, honestly. And I wouldn't mind they reference like past episodes into this movie, and kind of shows that, you know, these characters did grow up, honestly, and you know, they definitely learned a lot of lessons throughout their times, which, you know, I think that's pretty cool, honestly. Yeah. So that's all the things I gotta say for the Jimmy Neutron movie 2. And hopefully this movie is really gonna be good. And like I can't believe this is, you know, in theaters, and that blows my mind. So I'll see this in 2027, and hopefully I would enjoy it, you know? Like, yeah, this will be a great movie, honestly. So that's all I got to say, and I'll see you guys later.